Hello. So yesterday I finished watching Ozark season 3 with my mum and brother on Netflix. I had a theory. I say I have a theory because I kind of thought of this whilst watching it, but then I went and found out that the internet has also had the same idea and I'm in no way original. But I'm still going to share this anyway. I don't believe that Ben Davis, Wendy's brother, is dead. I think he's still alive, and I think there was a plot to fake his death so that the cartel would stop chasing him. I've written down some notes, so I thought I would share these with you in no particular order. First of all, obviously, we never actually see the body. We never actually see Ben get shot or killed, or even his face revealed from the body when it's delivered to the crematorium. It's all wrapped up. So, fairly obvious. We've not had any proof yet that body was Ben. I think that Nelson, the cartel hitman that kind of hangs around with Helen, is key to this theory. Obviously, we see him meet Ben, but we don't see him kill him, and he brings Marty the body. But as I said, this could be anybody. Anybody, get it? Anybody. Just to stay on point though, we know that Nelson isn't exactly loyal to Helen. We see this in several ways. First of all, he says that he will, give her a heads up if the day ever comes where the cartel decides to kill her. And then what happens at the end of the series? He puts a bullet in her head to complete surprise to everyone. Also, at the end, Nelson is with Marty and Wendy as they get on the plane, which I think is maybe kind of hinting at something. It kind of subtly shows that he's on their side. He doesn't need to guide them onto the plane. They're not going to run. They're doing everything the cartel says. So that kind of body language isn't really necessary at that point. But if we were to just dive a little deeper, Nelson saw at Sue, the therapist's house, when he was searching for her things, he saw the bank statement that showed how the Bird family is very capable of paying large sums of money to, keep people to be quiet. So he must have known that he could probably get a huge sum of money out of Marty if he was to go along with Marty's idea. To be clear here, I believe that Marty and Nelson worked together to fake Ben's death. And I don't think that Wendy was involved. I think Marty and Nelson made a plan together, and we see evidence of this in that Marty had already found a private institution that he wanted to send Ben to. I think that instead of killing Ben, he's in that institution, and he's there to lay low for, I guess, a year or so whilst they wait for it to blow over. Now, of course, you're probably going to say, you saw how upset Wendy was. She was utterly devastated. I think she must believe that her brother is dead. We also saw how upset Ruth and Jonah were, and I think that it was essential for these characters to truly believe that Ben is dead. They need the cartel and Helen and the others, they need to see these characters grieving for Ben so that they're convinced that he's dead. If there was any suspicion that Ben had snuck away and was in hiding, then they wouldn't drop their case. So part of Marty and Nelson's plan is for their family to be seen grieving. And I think in season 4, Marty will surprise the family with Ben. Of course, Marty was supportive, but he wasn't truly devastated when Ben was supposedly killed. He was still so practical and focused. And he's got to remember, he said he'd known Ben since he was 19. This is a key member of his family. If we're led to believe that Marty didn't know anything and that Ben had just been killed, surely he would be a little bit more humane and grieve for this. I think this plot obviously works for Marty in several ways. First of all, it saves a life in that Ben gets to live, which is important, but also it would be an exercise for Marty in proving that you can escape the cartel. Remember, he had planned that whole trip to escape Australia when the casino was built to free his family and get away from the cartel. And if he can successfully hide Ben for a year or so and get Ben to lay low, it will prove his point. This also kind of ties in with the season-long battle between him and his wife to have control and to make moves and stuff without each other's approval. I think hiding Ben and keeping Ben alive would be a win for Marty, which is definitely something that deep down he and all the characters kind of want for themselves. It gives Marty some control, which, let's face it, all the characters kind of want in this show. Of course, it's a horrible thing to carry out in the short term because everyone's going to be, devastated and hurt, and it's risky. But in the long term, it pays off very well for Marty and, of course, Ben and the family. So Marty has effectively saved Ben from Helen, which is also a win for him because, you know, there's been some tension between him and Helen throughout the series over control and power, and it gives Marty a chance to one-up her for once. Plus, with the amount of screen time that Ben got in season 3, it's so clear that he's such a, you know, essential character to this family and to this series that he's not like the other characters that we've seen come and go. He's not like Officer Petty or Cade or even like Rachel, who of course we felt for her, but we just didn't experience her life as much as we did with Ben. I think his performance is just too strong and he's too well developed of a character to just let go after one season. I personally do believe that Ben is laying low and hidden in that institution under Marty's instructions. Nelson was paid off a huge sum because he's a buyable, you know, he's a gun for hire with no moral compass. He does whatever he's told or whoever pays the most. And I'm sure he was certainly outbid from whatever Helen was paying him to kill Ben. Marty would have, you know, doubled or tripled or whatever. So it seems totally plausible to me. Lastly, I want to mention Jonah and the rifle, where he obviously shot the window at the end of the final episode. When he does this, he, of course, saw something. And I'm not going to suggest it's Ben because that's too, I guess, implausible, and it would be ridiculous for Marty's plan to have worked, for Ben to show up at the house the next day. So I'm not suggesting that, but I do want to just raise this point while I'm making this video because I saw it on Reddit and thought it was interesting. Jonah has definitely shot someone. And I say that because someone had commented that you can hear, after the fade to black, when Jonah's fired at the glass, you can hear a thud. And I of course challenge you, please go back on Netflix, re-watch that moment with headphones in and listen. There is a thud after the window is fired. Who that is, I don't know. And I'm sorry to leave this video like that, but someone was shot and I'm fascinated to know who that is. And I can't wait for season 4. Anyway, of course, that's my theory and many other people's theory. I wanted to film this. I apologise if it's a bit jumpy. I kind of did just throw down my points, and what started as, oh, Ben's not dead, I don't think that, we didn't see the body, became, oh, but Nelson this, and Wendy that, and it just kind of became this kind of scrambled mess that I wanted to share with you. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.